Oh my, we're here. So Guts it given, every time we do a video, she sees that we're going to do a video and she decides to do a premiere.
That's what it is.
Because she notices us.
Yeah. Because she wants to take away our 12 viewers.
You know that physicist A. Collier Ragnarok or Rasnick or something like that? She's a PhD physicist. I really wish those two would get together because I think their experiences in academia might be fresh and helpful to one another. And it could also give the physicist her views a boost, which, you know, she's a newer channel. I think she just hit 10,000 viewers, and they might, you know, boost one another.
That A. Collier one?
Yeah, A. Collier or something. She's the latest physicist I told you about, and you know she talks about science. She talks about social issues like abuse and assault against graduate students and things like that. People who work for very little money for the academic value of it. And then she also has some like she does a whole video on why postdoc experience is a scam and things like that. It's just a really good channel with a combination of science and academia that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm trying to find her channel again, and because her name is so damn bad, you can't find it with just a search. So it's A. Collier what?
Tell you what, let me you keep on introducing, and I will find it for you.
Okay. Anyway, so tonight on Critical Faculty, Dave Farina is going to stop by, I believe. And Dave explains reflection on abiogenesis debate with James Tour, and I've linked that in the chat. And I don't know why I'm in the wrong position, Scott. Why am I in the wrong position?
What do you mean you're in the wrong position? Probably because I hit some key combination that screwed things up. Now, that's Critical Faculty at 8:30 p.m. Central. But don't forget, he's also going to be on Bridge the Divide at 7 p.m. with, of course, J.L. Warren. And I'm more familiar with J.L. Warren than I am whoever runs Critical Faculty, but I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with Critical Faculty.
Yep. So let's go look at that one. That's going to be videos. You don't have live, so I don't see an upcoming on Bridge the Divide.
Okay, I'll find that for you too.
Okay. There's only 2 headings on releases. What are releases?
Well,
I don't know what.
When a mommy loves a daddy very much.
Oh God. Which brings us to our topic of mental illness. Anyway, so the name of this video is The Mundane in a World of Brilliant Phenomena. And the thumbnail for the thing is a man in a forest, basically looking very, very depressed and down. And for the hell of it, I looked up, hang on a second here. I looked up the etymology of the word mundane, or the derivation of the word mundane. The word mundane has its roots in Latin. It comes from the Latin word mundus, which means world or universe in Latin. So mundus, or the mundane, refers to the world. Over time, the meaning of mundane expanded to include things that are ordinary, commonplace or of the everyday world, it came to signify things that are not extraordinary or supernatural. The word mundane entered the English language in the late 15th century, borrowing directly from Latin. Initially, it retained its original sense of relating to the physical world or worldly. However, it gradually acquired the connotation of being commonplace and ordinary, or boring or uninteresting, or something we can just ignore. And I had, okay, there you go. I'll go ahead and put that in the description, Scott, as well as linking to it. But so I've had a long history with this. Back in, well, I had my challenges with mental illness when I was a teenager. Serious challenges, and also with a horrible alcoholic home life. And one of the things that, like, I got married to a woman I was just deeply in love with from the time we were like 12 years old. And we got married when she was 18 and I was 17. And within 2 years, I started looking for greener grass. I started looking to run out on her or find a new relationship because she no longer was sparkling to me. She was no longer magical. She had become mundane. Mm. And then we entered a period of time when I was 19 where we did about 100 LSD trips. And on my second LSD trip, I saw her again as if I had never seen her before. And for the rest of our marriage, which unfortunately didn't last long because of meth and alcohol, had nothing to do with LSD. We had 2 wonderful LSD years, and we went back to alcohol, and then we found speed, or uppers, and it basically destroyed me and destroyed our marriage. But for the rest of the marriage, I never saw her as mundane again. I always saw her as magical, because somehow LSD had completely opened my eyes to the world, to life. And at the same time, I was studying Buddhism and meditation. And there's a type of meditation where you try to become as conscious of as many things as you possibly can all at once, so that you feel your body, your breathing, you feel the world, you see the things in front of your eyes as if you'd never seen them before. And you look upon the world as a child. And now if you get a kitten, which I have, Snack, when the kitten's first running around the the room looking at the world, everything is exciting to them. And it's the same with a child. Everything is as if they have never seen it before. And what happens to us is our brains tend to start doing this weird thing where we abbreviate or reduce the things around us to some sort of knowledge about them, some cognate, basically framework where, I've seen that person before. I know that person. I don't need to listen to that person because I know that person. Mm-hmm. I think it's the number one problem in relationships, in marriages. You get so used to each other. And then you do this other thing in marriages where there are certain things that that are going to piss your spouse off. So you quit talking about them. And you carve out little pieces of your relationship one at a time and put them on the forbidden shelf where you can no longer talk like you talked when you first met. And oftentimes when you're in one of these marriages where you no longer see your wife, your spouse as a sparkling thing, you will wonder what happened to that person you first met, and you will start to think that person somehow changed. Of course they changed, and you fucking forgot to keep up with the change. You're not seeing the world in its totality. You're no longer experiencing. You're pretty much living in your roof brain, and you're cogitating. And when we do that, we become mentally ill. We become bored, depressed. We become a little bit sick. We don't want to get out of the chair as often. We're attracted to things like video games or wild movies that will entertain us and take us out of our mundacity, right? And we do that over and over again. And there is a way to live and be.
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, at least you have a chance to clarify.
Did you invite Siri? I did not. Okay. So, and anyway, there's a way to be in life, and there's a way to live where you practice turning on more and more of what's around you and what you're experiencing, and you can learn to experience other people in new ways, basically. And it takes practice because you have to reverse your entire life, where you were a kitten, you were a child, the world was magical to you, and slowly you come to know the world. And somehow you threw it under the rug and decided it was just dusty stuff I already know, and there's nothing new to see. And in doing that, you miss it. Like in relationships, you will miss a great deal about what that other person is presenting to you if you don't see them as if you have never seen them before, as if you had never met them before. And basically, that's the entire thing I wanted to say about mundacity and the mundane, and now we could quit. So. What do you think, guys? What do you think of all that? Have you heard of this stuff before? I mean, has anybody talked about this stuff to you before?
I've not heard of the mind working in that way. No, it's new to me.
That's exactly how the mind works. That's how it works. That's how it works well. You only, like, everything that is not going to kill you, you don't see anymore. You just blank it out. You look out and you see nothing but fucking trees. So what? You know, it's like, oh no, lion. You know, it's like you're looking for that thing that's going to be very important to you. And that's why when we work, when we have a task to do, when we have something that we've set out to do and we're all excited about doing it, we feel good, right? You feel good, like, okay, I have a job to do. I have something, like I have to go hunt berries or get meat or go to the grocery store or whatever. And for a moment, we'll be taken out of this depth of misery that we find ourselves in often on a daily basis. And I think it has something to do with depression and various neuroses of the privileged Americans that we all live with.
It might. So I want to say two things. First, thank you, Scott Duke, for drawing people at my channel over to here. I forgot to mention that I was.
I'm not trying to take them away. It's just I thought, hey, while we're
no, I don't.
Maybe they could at least.
The whole point of me streaming over to there is to let people know that we're over here, and because I didn't do the intro, I forgot to mention it. But that's where we're at. So anybody that's over there, we're over at Answers in Atheism, and I'd be glad to have you over here. And the other thing is, I can't remember what it's like to not be depressed, so I don't really have a frame of reference to do the contrast with.
Yeah. So you've never been taken out of it in a like, well, that experience happened to me very early, that where I had all those realizations that, that I had not seen my Carol. I had not seen the whole of her. And then with through the use of LSD, and we did a lot of it. We got to know each other in a new way, and basically our lives started to become really fucking interesting for a couple of years. Well, when we weren't drinking, weren't taking other drugs, and we were just doing acid trips every so often, and so it had a big impact on me because it changed my life, and it was one of the happiest periods of my life. I think it was from 19 to 21.
Wow.
When I was 19 and 21. And then, of course, I went back into the drug thing. And then when I sobered up, I got into computer programming and computers, and I became obsessed with that, and never really revisited it all, except for just a few times in my life until recently. And I've been coming to know the world in a different way. And it's really interesting because I feel like I'm leaning into the world as if I'm laying on a hammock and being swung gently from side to side while I'm actively watching and engaging in everything. And it feels good. It feels really good compared to some of the shit I was doing, sit down and try to find the most exciting YouTube video or the most exciting program I could watch, and until I get tired and then fall asleep. And so it's a different kind of life. But I think there's something there. I think there's something important in psychology that we're missing. But minds definitely do that. You know, you walk into a room and you never really see the room anymore unless something's changed in the room, right? And then you'll notice that if some big changes happen. But I mean, you know, it's like change. Well, there's change blindness too. Sometimes you miss that.
Well, they can change the room, and like how many times has, you know, somebody moved the furniture around? Like my ex-wife, when we were married, would do that, and I wouldn't notice it. You know,
right?
It's just like, oh, okay. Or if somebody changed their hair and you didn't notice it and didn't compliment it, oh boy. But things that you just kind of pass over because you expect them to be the same. You expect mundanity to last. Yeah,
and I think that affects our mental health. That affects how we feel, and that can lead to depressive episodes where things get darker and darker.
Yeah, I know. A couple of years ago, I was at a point where I was feeling isolated from everybody. I was feeling, depressed. This was probably before I started doing. I don't know. It may not have been, but I think it was probably prior to where I started doing a lot of the. It used to be speed of sound of gravity stuff, and so I went to the doctor, and he thought I was drug seeking, but I said, no, I'm depressed as hell. Come on, give me something. And then I went to a counselor, and that brought me out of the worst part of it. But yeah, it's still something I have to manage, and I probably will always manage. And, you know, depending on the time of day and, my nutrition even, I still swing into depression, although the anxiety part I don't really seem to mess with as much because I guess the medicine I'm on is better for anxiety than it is for like total depression. So
there's an interesting, like some antidepressants like Wellbutrin or bupropion. One of the side effects is anxiety.
Yeah.
You'll get anxiety. It'll cure depression. So when I started taking Wellbutrin, my doctor asked me to give him a subjective account of what happened to me over the 3 weeks that it took for the Wellbutrin to come into my system. And what I told him is that all of a sudden I'm really upset and anxious about all these things. Like I owed the IRS some money, and I was like all freaked out about that. And but my depression had lessened, right? So I became more aware. And as soon as I became more aware, I became more anxious because when I was depressed, I wasn't paying attention to things like the IRS, which I should have fucking dealt with, right? And I didn't. I swept them under the rug. But along with sweeping the bad things under the rug, I swept all the good shit under the rug too, right? So I became very, very depressed. But the Wellbutrin just slowly, like the first thing I noticed is the color red. It's like, wow, there's a lot of red in the world. And I was like, what am I, why didn't I see that before? And it was like after about 2 weeks on Wellbutrin. So I think in a lot of ways, serotonin has a lot to do with turning on this more awareness of the world. But I think you could train that to happen so that you end up, I don't know if you have a higher serotonin account or if you have more neuronal connections to serotonergic neurons create the serotonin and basically ship it out. But you can train yourself to become more aware and see more things. And it takes place over a period of months, I think. And I think that in itself is kind of an antidepressant without taking a drug. There are a lot of psychiatrists that would get really pissed off at me for saying that, for even suggesting that, I think. But I think there's a way to, I don't know.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, let them be pissed. Who cares?
Yeah, fuck them.
Fuck them. Exactly.
Yeah. Of course, there is a bias with a lot of people against the medical community and the pharmacological community. So anytime you talk about taking medication for depression, there's always going to be people who say, no, you need to take the natural organic stuff and do this, do that. But doing this and doing that and taking that may be good, and it may help your general mood and on, symptomatic occasional basis as needed. But, what you want is something that can long term and without a lot of extra intervention keep you at a better level in terms of your mood and your depression. And so while, doing cardio X number times a week might help your mood and help improve your depression, that's not going to be the be all end all. And generally those kinds of things aren't going to be sustained as long as taking medication, daily would be. So
no, I think I disagree with you. I think that those things are going to sustain and allow you to restore, basically return to normal at some point. Not in every case.
How many people do you know who's like do cardio all the time and stay that way?
I see.
Yeah, because there are things that or how often do you keep on a certain revolutionary diet that's different from the diet you've essentially been used to over the long term? That's what I'm saying is
consistency.
Yeah, and consistency over the long term.
Yeah, because if I were to look back over my whole life, I would say, Mike, consistency is your problem.
Yeah,
basically, it has always been my biggest problem. But actually, in the last year or so, I've consistently maintained a diet. I've had a few little bloops and whatever, which some of them I plan, but I haven't consistently maintained a good exercise plan. But overall, I have changed to get a lot more exercise than I used to. And I've lost weight and restored some of my COPD to normal. And so there's a lot of things you can do if you just keep at it, and plan it. But I mean, you're going to find psychiatrists that come down on the organic home remedy people, and home remedy people that come down on the psychiatrists. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. And I think some doctors are a little bit pill happy, especially with antidepressants, because antidepressants alter some things that to me made me feel yucky. So I felt more yucky. I was less depressed, but my head felt yucky. It was like there's something wrong. I don't want to feel yucky.
Well, what I'm on now,
Lex?
No, it's escitalopram.
Oh, that
one. It doesn't really. I don't feel any noticeable side effects. It makes me feel generally in a higher, better mood than I did before, like when I needed to go on them and hadn't yet. So I'm sticking with that. I'm not, and what I'm doing is I'm trying different things to get me up even better. Those kinds of, so it's a combination, simply because I don't want to go to something that would have negative consequences, because I feel it can be manageable here. What I need is probably more good people in my life and more hugs from my grandkids. So, well, I think I exposed them to me sufficiently. So I would have to. I probably need to try other avenues if I want to increase the mood level in my life, because I don't want to become a pest. But
that is Lexapro. My niece just went on that, and I never tried that one, and people have told me that it doesn't have a lot of side effects, which is good. But along with medication, other things need to be tried, and medication and meditation, they kind of sound the same.
Meditation does lift my mood. It really does. I don't often slow down enough to to be, you know, to be mindful and do it. But when I do, and it, invariably it lifts me.
Yep. So we got a fluorine atom here, and we have 3 rings. We have 2 benzene rings or aromatic rings, and we have a triple bonded nitrogen. What the hell?
Ooh.
What the? No, it can't possibly be.
Is this like
bonded.
the poster in your bedroom?
This is your Lexapro.
Oh, you're okay.
Yeah, it's a chemical formula. It's the stuff you're putting in your body, basically. Yeah. And it's an interesting little molecule. I always get scared when I see chlorine or fluorine, but most drugs have.
Wasn't fluorine good for your teeth?
Have you ever seen fluorine gas?
Actually, no, I have not.
It's delicious.
Oh no, it ain't. Yeah, for the 30 seconds that you're alive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyway, I made some once. I made bromine. Oh my God, the bromine got out of the flask. Bromine is this beautiful, thick liquid, like dark red liquid. And if you shake the flask, it turns into this beautiful dark red vapor, which will kill you almost instantly. And I made some, and I ran down the stairs, and Carol and my daughter were down there. My daughter was probably about 3 years old. It's like, we got to leave the house. We got to leave the house. The bromine's coming.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I had to put a wet rag over my face and go up there, cover the flask, and wait, and open all the windows. And yeah, I was not a popular dad that day.
Ooh.
Yeah, pretty pissed.
Well, there's some mistake I've never made. Put that on the list. It's a short list.
Yep. Yeah, used to like to make things.
Yeah, used to like to make chemical weapons. Great.
Got in a lot of trouble with the wife.
You're lucky you didn't get in a lot of trouble with the FBI. Shit.
Oh, well, I was kind of in a little bit of trouble with them too at one point, which is a long story.
I'll bet.
They were surveilling me pretty seriously, but I never actually had anything that they could have busted me for. But they were watching me because of the chemicals that I purchased. So,
hello,
there's a link for you to put in the description. There's another link for you to put in the description.
Where's that?
In the private chat.
Oh, I did put it in there.
Okay, well, let me. My page hasn't updated then.
Oh my God! Why did I put it in there twice?
Because you're old.
I put it in there.
Well, remember, there's 2 channels that's going to be. Oh, the silicon thing, yeah. Well, the last one you can delete because it's running up on lines. Yeah, her name, I can see what she's doing now. It's A, and I can't remember her first name.
Astro.
Collier, right. And then Astro. I guess she's an astrophysicist, or she likes astronomy.
Yeah, but it's hard to remember. It's almost as bad as speed of sound and gravity.
Yeah. So
that was a horrible name.
For anybody that might be at my channel, we're over at Answers in Atheism. I'm glad to have you stop by.
And you could be watching on both channels to give us twice as many views.
I don't need the views. Just jump over to Mike's. But Per Aspera Ad Aspera says that they're trying to decide if they should try antidepressants as well.
Yeah, I'd recommend trying everything first before that. But I don't know. You might try them. I mean, it's always worth a try.
I hesitate to even admit to my mental struggles on YouTube because, we engage with apologists a lot, and they love to be able to weave this false narrative that somehow atheism leads to mental illness or mental distress. And that, we'd all be fine if we just all let Jesus heal us. And it's a bullshit narrative, but because they run with that so often, I usually don't even talk about my struggles, but I'm willing to. Like we can go deep into the weeds there anytime somebody wants to.
Well, there are a lot of Christians, Bible believing fundamentalists, even who are on antidepressants and probably other psychotropic meds. And but they're probably there's probably a mix. Some are probably okay to talk about it with their little Sunday school / peer group, but a lot of them just stay quiet about it and aren't very open with it. They're ashamed of it, and that's the thing, is there's a big shame put around dealing with mental illness through pharmacology and the medical community, because the Bible's supposed to cheer you up. The Holy Spirit is supposed to lift you up, and it's just a shame to admit that God can't do it all. Or maybe he would do it all, but you're taking medication and talking to a therapist, and that's bad.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of stigma around mental illness, particularly when I grew up. It was really bad.
Right.
We had some family members and family members of acquaintances that actually were seriously mentally ill. My parents decided that one of them was a good babysitter.
All righty.
Oh my God, Johnny. He's that was an interesting thing.
Yeah, as a Christian, especially one trying to find, to discover the purpose and the meaning that I was supposed to get through Christianity, I also had worse depression as a Christian. So it really didn't help much for me. So I can certainly empathize with what Logan went through. I'm sorry, Ad Astra.
Yeah, it's depressive episodes. Like when the times that I had depression, it was life-threatening. But then in the last years, I've had this other version of it that's just uncomfortable. But there have been times when it has been really life-threatening. And if it's life-threatening, then it's time for medication is the first thing you should try, probably. But if you have the type that's just the mundanes, if you have the mundacity, then it's time to maybe make some life changes or think about meditation or some of these other things that I'm talking about. But yeah, when depression is life-threatening, it is something else. It's just like the entire world seems like it's taken on a shade of gray, and you actually see less light, and you... Like I got into these periods where I would sleep for like weeks and weeks at a time, almost like every time I woke up, because I'd had enough sleep and I would start to wake up, I would be horrified that I was waking up because I needed to push myself back down into sleep.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean there.
Yeah. That's when it becomes serious and life-threatening. But it's all brain stuff. It has to do with how much serotonin is being produced in your fucking brain, and it's a tragedy that we can't. Do I want to say it? There are drugs that instantly increase the amount of serotonin, a particular kind of serotonin receptor that fires off, and those are mostly illegal drugs. But I'm wondering if a person in an extreme depressive, state were given a small doses of psilocybin, if that would not be sufficient to drag them out of it. And I don't know. Somebody needs to do a study on that.
Yeah, maybe studies have been done. I don't know, but
well, if you go to the emergency room and you've taken a poison, they have antidotes for the poison, right? Like Ipecac to make you throw up, or various antidotes. And if psilocybin turned out to be an instant antidote for a depressive episode, wouldn't that be cool?
It would be.
It would be.
Yeah. I thought there were some other currently illegal drugs that they're treating depressive people with, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I think they're using They are using psilocybin on some of that, but they're using it in higher doses, and they're using it as one-time things where you or two-time things where you take it 1 week and then another week and then you're done. Yeah. And they've had some success with that. But microdosing is another thing, and microdosing is where you don't really feel the drug. You'll notice something is going on, but you don't feel the drug.
Mm-hmm.
And microdosing is what I'm talking about for instant depression relief. Yeah, you wouldn't want to take a suicidally depressed person and drop 25 milligrams of psilocybin.
I feel like I need to be a little disclaimer here, in that none of us that are on this little panel are medical professionals. We're not mental health professionals. Anything we say is just our opinion based on experience, and we know nothing. So if you're experiencing depression, experiencing any kind of mental distress, or have come to some sort of rock bottom in your life, please seek professional assistance, professional help through a qualified therapist or medical professional. Also, I want to say that with depression, the symptoms can sometimes be contradictory. In other words, there are people that lose energy and cannot get out of bed, and it kind of, they have a lack of energy. They have despair. Others, and I think it's a more rare case, but others can get highly manic and angry and aggressive even, and that too is a form of depression. It can go either way. So if there's something off with you and you don't feel like you're in a good place, definitely get an assessment, because what you're going through might actually be treatable as depression, and maybe taking tranquilizers for it is the wrong way to go, or what have you. So
there's something else that's really important is medical. Your physician, your regular physician is not the person you should be getting prescribed mind-altering drugs from. You should see a professional psychiatrist and psychologist in conjunction and rely on them, because sometimes antidepressants can affect some people and make them more critical than they were. So especially when they start giving you mixtures. So, I mean, you have to be careful. You have to do this with professional advice and professional support. And getting a psychologist today is, we atheists do not go to church on Sunday, but therefore we atheists should go see a psychologist at least once a month, if not every week, because you need somebody outside to kind of pull you in every now and then, no matter what you're doing in life. It's a good idea just to sit down and talk to a unconnected professional who basically can give you, just allow you to work things out. I find it very useful. So
yeah,
I've been in therapy for 67 years now, and you call it therapy, but there's not that much wrong with me, except I don't feel good, right? And my therapist really helps me to keep changing, to keep aware of what's going on. So I just recommend it for everybody. And a lot of times you can find therapists that your insurance covers, and it's just like, do it. What the fuck? What do you got to lose? Anyway, so what else?
Do we want to get anybody else in here to talk about things?
Yeah, I think we should throw the link.
Let's throw the link out.
Maybe we could. Yeah, should we revisit the abiogenesis James Tour thing and talk about sentient flower? Sentient flower. How interesting. Deconverted man, and I think I were having a misunderstanding about the ad hominem fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, and my understanding of it, and I have not checked, and he has checked, And my understanding of it is that if somebody comes up with an argument and you just completely disregard their argument and say you're obviously wrong because you're an idiot or you're Republican or whatever, and you don't listen to their argument and attack their argument directly, then you are going to the man, which is what ad hominem means. So you're going to the man, and that is your counter to the argument. But now James Tour Professor Dave, why do I confuse those two? Professor Dave called James Tour a liar and said that he was lying, right? So if James Tour says something and quotes some paper and says that this is what the paper says, and then Professor Dave says, no, you're lying, you are a liar, right? That doesn't go to the man, that goes to the piece of information that he provided, saying that you are lying about that piece of information. Like if I say I found a unicorn in the forest and you say you're a liar, that's not an ad hominem fallacy. Okay. Right. Even I guess you could make the case that overall he's saying that I'm the kind of a person who is a liar, therefore you're not going to listen to my evidence. Well, that's not what he's saying exactly. Say you're lying about there being a unicorn in the forest. You lied about that. So anyway, so I don't think calling James Tour a liar and a sham and a scam artist is ad hominem, basically. Necessarily. I mean, that's just a fact. It's a fucking fact, right?
Okay, yeah. My question is, okay, so you did an ad hom fallacy. Well, you did an ad hom anyway. I don't know where he placed it and how he said it. What he was getting at would make it constitute a fallacy, because I really didn't see that as part of his argument. But so what? He did an ad hominem.
Yeah.
So what?
You know, sometimes you have to psychologize these Christians and look at where they're coming from. I mean, they're just slippery as hell. Like this sentient flower guy that I'm having a conversation with, he doesn't have the balls to come in here. Did you put the link out, by the way?
Yes, I did. I did. It's right up there. I'll put it out again too. No,
I pinned it. I pinned it.
Just don't want people to have to expend too much energy.
Nope. You just got to let me know when you put it out there so I can pin it.
Okay. Yeah, it's out there. It's pinned. So you did your job. We've lost James's avatar. At least I have.
Yeah, it's gone.
My internet's going down. Oh, we have a trusty ape coming by.
Trusty ape.
Although I'm not. Okay, there we go. Cool. Welcome, trusty ape.
Hello. I'm mobile, so let me know if I have any issues. I've never used Restream before.
Okay, you're loud. You're kind of like your audio is a little bit in and out, but I think it's working. So, and we have Captive Desk, Dave.
Captive Desk, yes, Dave. That was a really good summary that you did today, or maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. I watched it today, Dave. So, good job there.
So, Trusty Ape, what do you want to say about the bullshit that I've been spewing here? Did we lose you? No, there's something wrong with your audio. I don't know. We got red bar. Okay, blue bars. No, he left. He went red bar and then he left. So having connection problems. Dave, what do you want to say about the bullshit that I've been spewing? And it's all bullshit. I can guarantee it. It just came out of my head. I pulled it out of my butt, sort of. Dave, can we hear you? Has Dave said a peep?
Have we been removed from the air? I mean,
oh no.
Can anybody out there hear us?
Did we get canceled?
I think we've been
Dave's working on his stuff. I saw him flicker for a second. He's
okay. All right. As long as we know that we're still broadcasting.
I have thought about doing a stream where I talk about my own struggles with mental illness. I don't have a sense of secrecy about those things. I just don't know if anybody wants to hear me talk about my stupid issues. So I don't know. But if anybody ever has a question.
You're the poster child here for...
I am. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Well, anybody who has such a dark view of the universe as you, I tend to want to hear.
I do have a pretty dark view. It's not nihilism, really, but it could easily be mistaken as nihilism. It's dark enough.
I'm putting the. Okay.
How about now?
There you go.
Yeah, you're coming.
Hey, everybody. It didn't work the first time, so I tried again, and it worked. How about that?
Hello,
Did you have to
Mosey.
change
We're over here at
browsers?
Answers and Atheism.
Thanks, Scott. I wanted to pop in to say I had a little fun with it. I was up last night messing around, throwing it together, and
Well, I really like that approach.
I hope Mike sees it because I threw a South Park in there. So.
Oh, you did. Awesome. I got to check it out. So
I couldn't resist when they kept talking about no one having a clue, and I'm like, clue. Oh, that brings to mind the South Park episode.
So which video is it? Let's see. Where is it? Is it under home? 2 hours ago, Professor Dave meets James Tour.
Yep.
Okay.
And I have set up a interview with Tony Reed too.
Oh, good.
That'll be next Sunday.
Yep. And here it is.
If anybody that doesn't know who Tony Reed is, go check him out. He's got. I love his approach in his content where he's kind of like a detective and.
Oh,
let's go find out. You know.
Yeah,
he's got a great gimmick and everything.
So when do you have him on?
Next Sunday.
Next Sunday. Oh, awesome. We have that.
Next Sunday, 4:00 my time, 1:00 his time, because I guess he's on the West Coast.
How do you lure all these people into your lair?
Well, a lot of them have been on Facebook for a long time, and we just kind of, hi back and forth and laugh at memes and everything, and it's like, hey, would you like to come on sometime? And a bunch of them have just offered, Jim Hall and Steve and a lot of them, they just said, hey, I'll come on your channel sometime, help you out or whatever. And okay, great, come on. So I've had a lot of support with everybody, and everybody's been great. And so,
did the mod actually tell him to stop with the diagrams?
Yeah. He said, could we get back to the science and not with all the diagrams? And,
okay.
And James says, sure. And he turns around, he started drawing again.
Hey, speaking of people named Hall, Dave, have you ever thought about having Andy Hall on? Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
He did this Laughing in Disbelief blog for the longest, and then did a streaming show. He's basically an atheist and a comedian, and he's been kind of out of it for a while, but he's a really cool guy. I don't know. Maybe you should go back and look at his stuff. Maybe we should have him on Speed. Yeah. Don't ignore what I said.
I've got a long list of people. Like I said,
yeah. But Andy's he's a really good guy. He's into the politics. He's funny.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Are you saying something, Trusty Ape? Okay, we're not hearing you, my friend.
I'm echoing. Okay. Wait.
I can hear you now.
You're a little better.
And I've got yes.
Andy, but I think I'm echoing.
Yeah, it's got to echo. I got a yes from Dan Phelps too. He's healing though from an injury, so I said I would get back to him. But Dan Phelps is down on the to-do when he's feeling better. So
this is Laughing in Disbelief. Is this satire? This is just one of the. So is this Pathos? That's where his blog is.
It used to be on Pathos, and then it's on. There's a new place. Those things. A lot of people went, and I can't remember. That's where I kind of lost track of him. And he did a like a morning time stream for quite a while, but then his work schedule was such that he had to quit doing that.
Okay, let's see if I can find another link for him.
Yeah, but he's on another like blog place. A lot of people went to. I can't think of the name of it.
Hey, wait, Trusty Ape, is your audio better yet? Because we haven't heard from you. We haven't heard from you yet. Atheism is for everyone. Videos.
I think he said he's on his phone.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can get you in, when you're on computer, but let's see. Andrew Hall.
I had to retry too, so might be a little.
Andrew Hall escaped a childhood of religious indoctrination, is now a non-miserable human being. He's made millions of people laugh as well as angry. So Only Sky Media and
there you go. That's what I was looking for. It was Only Sky.
Okay, Only Sky. Okay, let's take
Janos, Tippling Philosopher writes for Only Sky.
Okay. Yeah, and he had a really cool bunch of people following him. I think Titan Uranus might have been one of them, but they're I can't remember all the names of them, but yeah. Oh, there we go. See, he's still commenting on politics.
Yeah, I actually asked some Janos if he thought I could work for Only Sky. So he said no, but I asked.
Why would he say no? You're a brilliant writer.
He said my writing just isn't what it needs to be for professional use.
Really?
Yeah, he said that quite emphatically. Like, I'm not even close. So,
wow.
I mean, he was honest. I appreciate the honesty.
Did he give you any constructive feedback? I mean,
part of it is that I intentionally break the rules of grammar when I write blogs because I want to break things down into the way people actually mentally process pieces of ideas, complex. Because I'm talking about complex subjects, and a really skilled reader doesn't need you to sort of cut their food for them on the plate, but most readers really do, and so they'll have to read something 2 or 3 times to get what you're saying if they're lucky, because these are complex issues and because they got to get used to your writing style. So I break things down and I intentionally violate the rules of grammar in order to do that. And to be honest, I think everybody should. And it's quite frustrating. There's a range of practicality for grammar where it makes sense to follow the rules. But there's another range beyond that where the only reason those rules even exist is because of a leftover holdout from classism, from this elitist way of being able to identify each other as properly educated people. And so it is a branch off from systemic racism. And really, we need to completely reevaluate the rules of grammar in order to accommodate readers that are not as skilled at readers, and honestly to accommodate highly skilled readers as well, because even they will lose some of it in the process of reading. They'll think they got the gist of it, but there's something that they missed. Or they'll have to read it twice. Even highly intelligent, skilled readers will need to. And so I've tried to change the rules of grammar on my blogs to accommodate those ideas. And Jono says, I get it, but you can't do that at Only Sky. You just can't. Right? And so he didn't really want to go beyond that. He just said that until I acclimate to the proper way of writing, that there's just no place for me there.
Did he recommend any kind of style book or style guide?
Well, I don't need one. And this is the thing. I can write fine within the rules of grammar. I just find that when I do...
You just don't want to? Okay.
Yeah, when I do write according to the strict rules of grammar, there's an awful lot of people that will give up 2 or 3 paragraphs in, and others who will follow it through to the end, and they miss too much. And so when I break it down, they get it, right? But then you can't publish professionally because it looks bad.
But yeah. Oh yeah. I understand your plight, man.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
So I thought I would link this little article, family of Aderrien Murry, 11, shot by police. So what this kid did is he called the police there was a domestic situation in his home. And when the police got there, they said, come out with your hands showing. And he walked out of the hallway into the room where the officer was, and the officer shot him in the chest, and he survived. And he wasn't horribly injured, but it punctured his liver, collapsed a lung.
Oh, yeah.
This is the kid. And the officer thought he was an adult.
How could you think he's an adult? How could you think that?
Said. That's what the parents said.
An unarmed adult deserves to be shot
in his own home. Right. The cop
only if he's black.
Walks in, gun drawn,
and tasing old ladies in nursing homes.
Yeah.
So I mean, what the heck? Yeah. She, by the way, she died. That woman died from that injury, so it isn't quite as funny now that she died. They actually killed her with a taser. Because
so
a walker.
Who disagrees? And if you disagree with this, I don't want to make fun of you or call you names or anything like that. I won't even really argue with you.
I can take it.
Who here, and I'm including side chat, thinks it's ever a good idea to let police officers into your home?
I know, and that's a real problem.
Ever.
Who are you going to call? I mean, they're supposed to be trained to handle these kinds of situations. And when they strap on a gun and they take a celery and put on a badge, they fucking know that that's a dangerous job, right? And I'm tired of them whining about, it's a dangerous job. It's like, it's a fucking dangerous job. And, if the solution is to pay them twice as much, then God damn it, let's pay them twice as much. And I think the solution is also to spend at least 1 year's salary in fucking training them to handle situations like this. I mean, you see all these films, right, where they're training with, you run into they have all these mannequins set up and you run in and you decide to shoot the bad guy and not the good guy. I mean, why in the fuck aren't they doing it? Why aren't they? Yeah, they don't do that. I think they just hand them a badge and a fucking gun and send them out there. 22-year-old kids.
You can jam a 2-year associate into 6 months and then get into the police academy.
Jesus Christ.
And then so many weeks later, you're out as a trainee with a gun and a badge. I think it should be a full 4-year degree. I think that police should have a full 4-year degree. With psychology classes, the full works.
The boy's mother said after being shot, he asked, "Why did he shoot me? What did I do?" And he started crying. I mean, can you imagine?
It's poor training. It's over and over. It's poor training.
Oh, and he's been put on leave. The officer's been put on leave. He should have been fired that day and charged the next day. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's manslaughter. It just pisses me off.
There was that video in some other country where the guy walked into the police station with a knife, waving it around. And the cop walked over and calmly just leaned up against the counter and he said, what's going on? You having a bad day?
Yeah.
And he talked to him for a minute. Next thing you know, the dude starts breaking down, crying, drops the knife, and he goes, "Come here, man. It'll be all right." It's like it's a lack of training here, period. They just don't know what to do in the situation. And the only thing they know is, I've got a gun, or I've got a taser, or I've got a stick, or.
Yeah, he's probably on paid leave, which is even worse, getting paid.
Well, there was an ex-military guy in one of the shooting situations, and he was like a big hero and everything. He said, "I wasn't a hero. My training just kicked in."
Yeah.
And he knew what to do in the situation when everybody else was running around, didn't know what to do. So it's clearly they need a full degree.
Yeah, I think the best advice is, and this, of course, I'm not a lawyer. I can't give legal advice, but this is what I understand from my personal research into this is if cops come to your door, don't open the door whatsoever.
Yeah, you don't have to let them in. If you let them in, it's like letting a vampire in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ask them if they have a warrant. If they don't, then ask them to leave your property.
Yeah.
And that's it. You don't need to talk about anything else. If they come back with a warrant, hopefully by the time they come back with a warrant, you've called a lawyer of some sort who will talk for you, and therefore you're not going to talk to them anyway, even if you have to let them in.
Right.
So, just of course, I know that they will force themselves in on whatever flimsy grounds they can. If it's by mistake, then they'll come up with flimsy grounds to excuse themselves. But just remember, of course, there are good cops out there. Of course, there are policemen that just want to help and just want to keep people from getting hurt and to get rid of criminals from the streets. But it's kind of like the idea of stochastic terrorism. Yeah. It's not going to happen to you, 100% guaranteed every time, but it happens to people enough to know that when you have something to do with armed people who may or may not have stable minds or good decision-making skills, then you don't want to be around people that can hurt you and kill you. So
I didn't know that they can enter your motor vehicle by force with no probable cause. In Minnesota, they can't even search your vehicle without probable cause.
Right.
You have to tell them to search it or let them in.
Well, if they see something like from where they're standing, if they see something illegal or think they see something illegal, that gives them probable cause to search your vehicle. Well, but if there's nothing in plain view, if there's nothing to indicate that anybody's in danger of having a crime committed against them, or nobody is in the middle of committing a crime, then you do not have to consent to a search of your vehicle.
Yeah, the atheist of the month who got banned on the channel, or he's the atheist of the month.
That's why I have to post it. Whenever every chance I get. And how's it going, BS? Yeah, that was another thought. I was like, I'd love to get all the atheists of the month together sometime and do a stream together. That'd be fun.
The Atheist of the Month Club,
or do a raid on Bread's channel. Yeah.
I think there's like about a dozen of us or so. So
yeah, I was a little bit jealous that I never made the club. It's too late now.
I was really pissed at Rebecca, but she said, I never came into chat that often, so that's why I didn't get it.
I was in there pretty often, but
but if you come into chat too often, then you get called a troll, so you can't win.
You can't win.
The other day, Rebecca was so upset about us evolutionists talking about our evolution that she had Sal Cordova on to completely destroy us. And Sal Cordova destroyed us by reading our own words. In other words, he cherry-picked a whole bunch of quotes from a whole bunch of people. And one of them I had researched, and it was a cherry-picked quote. And the rest of them, I turned it off. I couldn't listen to him. That's all he did was show quotes, basically, of people in evolution that have said negative things about evolutionary research. And in almost every case, those guys are, they have their theory and the other guy has his theory, and they're just getting a little edgy about it, and they cherry pick those quotes. That's all Sal had. We haven't seen too much of Sal lately. So.
Yeah, I see BS in the chat. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll go snooping around and see. We put a list together. I'll go see your videos there and see if I can get a list.
I wonder, if
the atheists of the month, and we'll see what we can do.
I
can talk with Titan. Titan and me are good. So
you and Titan are tight.
We're tight. I'll get him on.
I wonder if Rebecca, if I went into one of her side chats and they were talking about prayer, if I asked a question about prayer, if anybody would answer me, or if they say, atheist, we have a troll.
Well, by her eyeballs earlier today, I noticed that she saw BS and James, everybody in the chat, and she just kind of said, okay, well, everybody have a good day, and ended the stream. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what happened today.
That happened today? Really?
I saw all the familiar names there. I was only watching for a minute, though.
So where's this Cell thing? Oh, stupid selection, Cell calls it. Stupid selection. And actually, it is kind of dumb. I mean, it's not intelligent.
Yeah, it's a brainless, unguided, often leads to the stupidest adaptations you would ever think of. Somebody was showing a thing about the kiwi how the egg, like when it's about to lay an egg, it takes up like 35% of its body volume.
Wow.
And so those things are just as big as eggs of birds that get up to be, what, 7 foot or what have you, that used to anyway, before they went extinct. So it's just the stupidest adaptation, because that poor bird, its ribs just get relocated and dislocated. And there's also a critter that has an appendage that looks like a penis. It's a female, but it has what looks like a penis, but that's actually the birth canal. And so they're essentially giving birth through something that's the size of a penis.
Oh my God.
So it's a long birth canal, and what comes out of their body comes out of the equivalent of a penis in a male. Yeah. So basically, I guess nature hates women.
So Cell he's still doing content? Why am I not getting notifications anymore? I think YouTube YouTube decided that I need a break.
Or maybe you weren't watching it enough or something.
Yes, standing up really sabotaged the birth, Scott. I was watching a gorilla give birth, and she's just sitting there.
Evidence of reason.
There. And then all of a sudden she kind of reaches down and here's my baby.
Evidence.
It's just, standing up really messed us up.
So Cell is running this same video, I think, on his channel. I think he's premiering it. So yeah, it's a premiere. So anyway, he took the video from Rebecca's channel and he's running it on his channel. That's what he's doing right now. Anyway, he's going on and on about, his little cards and all this bullshit. Blah, blah, blah.
I don't know what she sees in him.
Well, he's her only hope, right? She thinks he's so brilliant. Yeah. He calls himself a scientist. And what science is he doing exactly? Oh, he's writing these papers, and they all suck.
Yeah, he's kind of just floating out there, and he doesn't have he's not personable his own church threw him out. I mean, he's just not a well-liked fella. I just don't know what.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
I was even going to invite Rebecca on, to come on my channel sometime, do an interview. How about?
Yeah, do an interview with Rebecca. That'd be good.
She had to give me a hard time.
Such a pleasant person for somebody who's hanging on to this young Earth creationism like it's some precious nugget, and I think it hurts her life. Basically, I made that case.
I've told her over and over, if you want to evangelize, but the YEC stuff is garbage, and it drives people out of the pews. It's proven. It's one of the top reasons people leave is the anti-science nonsense.
Yeah. And the homophobia and anti-trans, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So Bree did a thing on Matt Powell.
Everybody's favorite.
Yeah, man, that guy.
I heard he has a giant banana in his backyard.
Is that the one named Dr. Peel?
I heard it's called Dr. Peel. Yeah,
that's what I heard.
I can't confirm it.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
It's funny. I can't confirm it either, but I've heard that same thing. So
see, that's a confirmation.
Yeah, I'm thinking it could be true, but I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it could be. But I've heard things.
Right?
Does he ride the banana?
Somebody said that somebody heard that and saw it, so it could be.
Probably true. Definitely true.
We can't dismiss it though.
No, you can't dismiss it. Oh, that guy! He is just really gotta be in his bonnet about trans people. Holy shit!
Like, well, I didn't realize how close to me he is. He's right up here in Michigan, and I'm like, geez, I didn't realize how. Matt Powell.
Oh, Matt Powell. Okay.
You could go over and see the banana.
If I knew where he was out and about sticking microphones in people's faces, I just might make the trip.
Yeah, take your banana cam. Take the banana cam, go out and confirm that Dr. Peel is at least in good spirits, if not healthy, you know.
Oh, I would print up a shirt. So I'd get on Teespring or whatever it is and print me up a shirt with, oh yeah.
So Joel Duff is always at A Beautiful Destiny are in the commentary on Bread of Life's video. And Joel Duff is always trying to talk sense into him. But he is so persistently calm about it, you know, correcting their lies in the side chat. Dr.
You
Joel
talk
Duff.
about a Christian you can respect. I really like Joel Duff.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, except he won't.
He's a good guy, level-headed.
He keeps putting me off. I keep trying to get him on the channel, and he keeps putting me off.
Well, I get a little flack for saying that I would rather deal with moderates because, well, they're still believers, and it's like, yeah, but it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
you're always going to have people who believe things that you don't believe, that you think are irrational. Maybe they're sort of rational, but not quite. You just are. So you have to learn to love and deal with people who don't measure up to your you know what you would prefer out of them. So a Christian who doesn't try to do mean things to people who are other than them is a refreshment. So that's the way I look at it.
Oh, I see a lot of the videos where they're out helping homeless people and stuff. You know, and I know people say you shouldn't stick a camera on them, but it's like they're also helping them. So it's, you know, back and forth.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's some Christian ones that are out there doing it too. More power to them. Get out there and help people.
I just don't like it when they make it conditional on hearing a sermon.
No,
they were just, you know, here, you know.
Yeah, if you go down to Austin, Texas, you'll find that the ACA down there does a tremendous amount of work for homeless people also. And it's just something that people should do. Nothing to do.
They also like build rampways for people who are disabled.
There's a big Muslim community, I think, in Texas too that you hear about. That's always doing a lot.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of press. Muslims don't get a lot of press when they do good things, do they?
Well, the Sikhs too. Sikhs are always on one of the first ones to be in any disaster. They're there, you know, making the proverbial sandwiches and handing out blankets, and yeah, you don't hear about them.
Yeah. Something I didn't know that I found out the other day is Minneapolis, Minnesota is called Little Somalia. I guess we got the biggest Somali population of any other city. I did not know that.
There's a big Muslim population around here in Northwest Ohio. We've got
we've had a
big old mosque. Yeah, they built a big old huge mosque out there off of I-75.
We've got some mosque burning terrorists in Minneapolis over the last couple of years, and just recently I think they burned 2 or 3 of them. And I don't know if they've made any arrests or whatever, but there was one here in Bloomington, Minnesota that got burned, and they keep attacking mosques. I wonder who that is. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Probably them damn atheists.
I wonder what their politics is. I bet they aren't atheists. I bet they...
Yeah, I was just kidding about that. I know they're not.
Yeah,
the atheists.
Every Somalian.
I wonder who blew up the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah. Every Somalian I've ever met has been extremely hardworking and pleasant to talk to. So we have had our problems in the city, as you will with any ethnic group. They will have their gangs of youths running around causing a little bit of trouble. So there's been some trouble, but it is for the population. It hasn't been very significant. So, but people get bent out.
The numbers usually show that immigrants are good citizens, and that the whole logic behind it is backwards, because they wanted to come here. They're happy to be here. Woohoo, I'm American. I got American job. I got American car. I got American house. Da, 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 you know. Hey, sure, live next door to me, you know. They're not the problem that we're facing in a lot of issues.
Yeah, there was a statistic I heard a few years ago that 80% of all the new business filings were by people from Mexico. 80% of new business filings, like opening a business, right? So, I mean, what in the hell could be wrong with that?
There's a guy on YouTube that goes around and does videos, and he was rolling with the gangs in East LA, and he was saying, you know, I don't see homeless people or anything around the neighborhood. And he says, no, we don't do that. He says, we hustle for a buck. And sure enough, everywhere you looked, there was a little stand, somebody selling shirts, somebody selling food. You know what I mean? It's like, no, they don't put their hand out. They set up a little stand and they say, here.
Yeah. Yeah, that I like. I think if we ever got to the point where we had enough robots and automation and we could afford a basic income for everybody, you know, like 60,000 a year or 50,000 a year, that was just basically what you could count on. I think a lot of people would choose to enter this marketplace, like farmers markets and little stands and little craft shops and gift stores and stuff like that, just for something to do. I mean, not all of them. Some would just sit there and take their basic income and sit on the hammock. But a lot of people would say, you know what, I think I'm going to do this, because they wouldn't really have to make a lot of money. They just have to break even. And all of a sudden we'd have more of a small town culture, you know, like we did, you know, back in the 50s, I think. Or there's a little more of that back then, but pre-World War II, I think it was even better, where that we just had a lot of little small businesses popping up. And I think that would happen if we had a basic income.
Yeah, a lot of the part-timers on Facebook, the photographers and the painters and the sculptors, and that they're always saying, oh, I'd love to do more, but I don't have the time. And yeah, like you said, if they didn't, they'd have 8 hours more a day to paint. Or
to be kind of a different world. I think it'd be a little more peaceful.
Yep.
And I could go down the street and get a snow cone, or, you know, whatever. Yeah. I kind of like that.
Well, and like I say, one of the like I say, that Chicano neighborhood I was talking about, one of their biggest issues is drugs. That's what drives all the, you know, the hardcore crime around there, and all the gang on gang violence and everything else. And if you take that out, that's a big chunk of why they're, you know, fighting over neighborhoods and everything else.
Yep. The black market for the violence / black market for marijuana is going away in Minnesota on August 1st. It's going to be legalized. So cannabis, which is a good thing.
So the black market's going to be bought out by like Safeway or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the police are whining because it's like, well, we got to know if a person's high. It's like, okay, if a person is driving in a reckless or impaired fashion, that's how you tell. If they're not, leave them the fuck alone. You know, don't worry about it.
If they're high and they're at home, who cares?
Yeah,
if they're high and they're somebody else's home, I guess it's up to that homeowner or whoever's renting the place to determine if they care or not.
Right.
And then, you know, it's who cares?
That's kind of what that's kind of what they do in places like Netherlands and stuff where it's legalized. And They legalized a lot of things. We just don't want to see it on the street in front of the kids. We don't want you, stumbling around in a crowd when people are trying to have a picnic. And yeah, you keep it here, keep it here, keep it here, and people do. And we can still take your family out, and even though right over maybe in that bar or coffee shop, whatever they call it, people are all stoned. You can walk down, with your family and kids and get an ice cream cone, and it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, if they make it, if they make it prohibitively expensive, the black market's still going to exist. But now that you can grow it legally, you can grow up to 8 plants or 2 pounds in your home. Hey, puppies, shut the fuck up. Bad as Siri.
Children of the night. Shut up.
So, I mean, they can screw it up and make the black market still powerful, but we need to stop that with drugs in the country. But I bet they haven't done statistics on it, but I bet there's a high percentage of traffic stops by police on black individuals where they used, I smell marijuana as a reason to get into the car and search them or pull them out of the car. And now they can't do that anymore because just smelling like marijuana isn't enough.
Oh, that's in a lot of the auditor videos. Have you been smoking some? I smell something. It's like,
Yep. Yeah, they can easily do that. But now they're training cops to recognize impaired people, and that's almost even worse because these cops think that they pull somebody out, and if they twitch their eyes the wrong way or move in the wrong way, they can say, "Oh, you're high." They think they can tell, and that is also some bullshit. That's going to be a problem, and it's going to be a problem in Minnesota because they're funding that. They're funding these training programs for cops to recognize if a person's high. I'm telling you, if the fucking person isn't driving erratically, leave them the fuck alone. It's just like, what do you need to know?
One of those auditors turns it around on the cops when a cop comes up to him and they say, hell, this and that and whatever. And then he throws right back at him. You're kind of slurring your speech a little bit. Have you been drinking today, officer?
Oh yeah.
It's a great bit, and they get this stunned face. They don't know what to say. He's got it down pat. Some of those guys are great. Now, not all of them are. Some of them are bothering people for no reason, but some of them.
Donald Trump has been stopped and frisked more than any POC. I don't know what a POC is in this country. What? What are you saying, DeFreak? Donald Trump has been stopped and frisked? When did this happen? I think that would make national news.
I think it stands for piece of crap.
Was he frisked at the courthouse? But that's not a stop and frisk.
No, they didn't frisk him there.
He got kid gloves when he went to court. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So he gets stopped more often than not white people do. Well, I mean, I don't know what your sources are for that. They're
person of color. Person of color. So Donald Trump has been stopped more than any person of color in this country. There was a black University of Minnesota professor that said he had been stopped 47 times or something like that. Traffic stop, like 4 or 5 times a year he got stopped. Yeah. I don't think Donald Trump's been pulled over by the police that often, so I don't know. Yeah,
that sounds like a false statistic, shall we say?
It sounds like a false statistic. I don't know.
Long hair will do it too. When I had my long hair, I always got the eye. I got pulled over one day for no reason. And,
Yeah,
that's how I lost my license. I had fairly long hair, but my sons had really long hair, and my front license plate had fallen off. And so they pulled us over, and they were getting all pushy with us, and he gave me a ticket for no front license plate. And then I had a little trouble figuring out where to send the money. I didn't pay attention, and then all of a sudden it went into a fine. I was supposed to send money. I sent it to the traffic department. They sent it back to me. By that time, 30 days had passed. They took my license away. I was a single father living 50 miles out in the country. So I couldn't not drive. And then I got pulled over like 4 times for driving after suspension. And it went on and on and on. And finally, I went in front of the judge, and he said, okay. And I made a deal with him, and I feel that I won. They gave me 90 days with an ankle monitor. I don't know, a couple $100 fine. And the judge said to me, "You're not going to quit driving, so I'm going to give you your license back." And I said, "Yeah, I can't quit driving. I'm a single parent. It's like, what the hell can I do?"
Right. I got pulled over in Chicago, and the guy I was working with had long hair too, and he's like, "Oh, this and that," and and he wasn't the most squeaky clean or whatever, but I am, so I wasn't worried. Are you good and everything? I'm like, "Yeah, I'm squeaky clean. Watch this." It's like, "What's up, officer?" He's like, "Oh, your exhaust is a little loud." It's like, "Officer, there ain't nothing wrong with this exhaust. Company vehicle, well maintained." "Well, there's something obstructing your rear view mirror." It's like, "Officer, I got panels behind me. This is a work van. I can't even use that rear view mirror." Oh, and he goes walking, and of course he went to run me and everything.
Yep.
Other guys, I was like, "Don't worry, man. I'm, no problems." He come back, and so I gave him a bunch of lip, and yeah, have a nice day. Find something better to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and the other guy, we had long hair, out of state plates. Boop, pulled us over in a work van. Obviously a work van, loaded with tools,
Yeah.
But it was 2 long hairs. Oh, 2 long. And yeah, he of course had that nice crew cut and everything. It's like, yep, he nailed us because we're long hairs.
So me and my friend Mac were the only long hairs that worked at Erie Mining Company back in the 70s or late 60s and 70s in Minnesota. And it was a taconite plant, right? So we were the only 2 guys there that had long hair. And we heard all these stories about these 2 long hairs that were doing drugs, and they were in the ditch, and there were all these antics that basically were about us. These stories that we had never heard, things that we had never done. So we were like legendary. And people were like making all kinds of stories up about us. It was amazing to hear from other people about these 2 long hairs at Erie Mining Company, and then to realize that they were talking about us. It was pretty cool.
I had long hair for so long, and then when I shaved my head, and I had my head shaved for a long time. And first time I shaved my head, then everybody was like, "What'd you do? Go to a rally over the weekend?"
I went bald and eventually had to cut it a little shorter because I lost it on top. Yep. My mom
I got bored, so I grew my hair out again. So
yeah, when I was 17, I wanted to get married. My mom and dad had a sign for me, and it was their idea in the first place. They suggested I marry Carol because she was pregnant. And but anyway, then they turned it around and they said, "Oh, we're not going to sign for you unless you get a haircut." So I went and got a fucking haircut because they wanted me to get a haircut forever. And they use it as leverage. And I went and got a haircut, and I told my mom and dad, I said, "It's the last haircut I will ever get." And I have been to a barber once since then. I take a pair of scissors and I just chop my hair off in the back. And I never went to a barber again.
I searched long and hard and high and low to find a barber that would listen to me and cut my hair the way I liked, right? And I found this guy, ex-military guy, with the, I don't know, Anchor or MC or something was right on his arm. And he was a great guy. He was right up on the corner. And then he moved to another shop that wasn't too far away, and it was like, he had a little index card he would pull out, and he knew exactly what I wanted. You know what I mean? Great guy. Called for an appointment one day. There was a message. He was up on a ladder doing something. He had a heart attack, dropped dead.
Oh, no. Oh,
and that was the first time I grew my hair out because I was so brokenhearted. I just let my hair grow, and then I became a long hair. So that was the story of me becoming long hair.
I was in Texas when I was 15.
May he rest in peace. He was a great guy, and he wasn't that old. And oh man, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah. I was in Texas when I was 15, and I had to get a haircut because I had to go to school. And I went to a barber down in Austin, Texas, and long hair is something you never saw down there in like 1966 or 65 or whatever it was. I went to this barber, and this barber says, "Oh boy, I've always wanted to do one of these." He was just so excited because the long hair walked into his barber shop.
Yeah, I did. Well, my wife did it. She put it in a ponytail and cut it off, and that was the day it went. Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm almost into a ponytail again. So it's been it takes over a year from nothing. So it's been.
My hair doesn't grow that much. It grows a little bit in the back, and then I just whack it off with a pair of scissors once in a while. Yeah, it's good. Nothing grows on top anymore. You can't grow anything on an engine that runs that hot. You know, a powerful engine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I've got such great hair. Running cold all the time.
Yeah.
James
okay,
the
guys.
heartthrob.
We should get out of here.
It's good talking to all you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody have a great one.
I'm gonna go watch your
All right,
clip.
you too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch a video, and I linked your video in the description along with a number of other things that people should check out.
I know, because I just lost another sub. I don't know how anybody could not like my Dave video.
Well,
I put my Dave video out, and I instantly lost a sub. I was like,
it's like we lost a couple as well.
Every time I stream, I lose a few more people.
I tried so hard to make it, funny, and I tried to put some James talking and some Dave talking, both in it to be fair and everything. And the minute I posted it, boom, I lost a sub. I'm like, come on, people, it's funny.
Right.
I tried really hard, and I edited and edited and edited, so it was as short as possible. You know what I mean? It's not an hour long or nothing. I put all that effort in, and it cost me a sub. I was like, dang, people.
I feel you.
I don't think that's actually because people unsubscribe. I think it's YouTube is doing something with older subscribers, and like we'll go up 7, and then we'll slowly go down like 1 every other day. We'll drop off, and I don't know what they're doing, but I think it's something like that.
It probably is. I was just laughing about it. It was just I was like,
I don't think
I was up till 4 a.m. I was up till 4 a.m. editing that thing down so it was short, because I edited. It was still an hour long. I'm like, cripe, this thing was too long. So I did it again. I was down to a half hour. I'm like, still too long. I just want to be everybody's reviewing the thing. I'm not gonna, I just wanted a quick little fun thing, So I put some more time in, and I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, man, it's passing 3 o'clock. I gotta get this thing wrapped up, go to bed. And got it down to 7.5 minutes, I think it was, or something. I'm like, there, good time and everything, And then I say I posted it, and as soon as I posted it, within minutes, my little thing popped up. I lost a subscriber. I was like, dang.
Well, I think instead of Murphy's Law, we need to start calling these rules here of, like Nerdy is showing us, Nerdy's Law.
Nerdy Law.
It's Murray's Law. That's my last name's. My last name's close enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good though.
Kill
people actually watch my videos, like Mike and everybody, actually, and Scott and everybody, and they say, "Hey, I saw your video." I say, "Hey, you actually watched my video?" So that's all I want. So
yeah, we're never going to see 1,000 subs ever. Not going to happen.
Never happen.
Well, I hope everybody at least gets a couple chuckles out of it, and I hope you appreciate the South Park in there, Mike.
Yes, I will go watch that.
All right.
Okay, let's shoot her in the head.
All right.
Later.
Okay.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for showing up, all of you on James's channel and this one. So, goodbye, cruel world.